Freddie wins. Fatality.
Good afternoon, folks. It's Freddie Vasquez. This is Basement Politics Unfiltered. Chris Johnson responds to the criticism by Councilwoman Shanae Williams.
You're watching Basement Politics. My name is
Good afternoon, folks. It's Freddie Vasquez. This is Basement Politics Unfiltered. Chris Johnson responds to Shanae Williams. Chris Johnson claps back. Good afternoon, folks. Freddie Vasquez here with Basement Politics Unfiltered. This afternoon, I want to talk about the response from Chris Johnson, county legislator, who is up for re-election, being challenged by Councilwoman Shanae Williams. What did he have to say in response to her criticism the other day about the fact that a staffer was caught by an amateur to catch a predator show on YouTube? The Legislative Aide was attempting to have sex with a 14-year-old girl. He knew she was 14. He was communicating with her via text. He was well aware of her age. The county legislator, or legislative aide, I should say, was actually an aide for former city council president Mike Cater when he was the council president. So he worked here in Yonkers in City Hall. And then he helped bring down Cater. According to sources, he was a part of this whole plan to take out Cater and replace him with Lakeisha Collins Bellamy. And for that, he was given a job up at the county. Well, we see what type of individual he is. He helped take out Cater, and he's also trying to have sex with 14-year-old girls. Chris Johnson responds to Shanae Williams' criticism. She was questioning why did he not speak out about it or fire him sooner, almost blaming him, putting all the responsibility for this man's actions on Legislator Johnson. But why not any other county legislator? Why not the entire board as a whole? Why Chris Johnson? Is it because she's going up against him? She wants to take him out? Absolutely. There's some things that I didn't like about her criticism that were personal, I believe. And I didn't appreciate it because she's a Black woman, he's a Black man, and you're trying to impact his livelihood. There are not many counselors, guidance counselors here in the city of Yonkers that are Black males. In fact, there's a need for more Black males in our school district because of the population and the makeup of it, its demographic. And so Chris Johnson being one of the few male guidance counselors, it's a great thing. And it's sad that a Black woman like Shanae Williams would attack him in the way that she did. I don't like it. It's kind of like when Lorraine Lopez made the comment about Dr. Quesada when he announced his retirement. She commented, "Good riddance." I didn't appreciate that, seeing as he is the only Latino head of any department here in the city of Yonkers. She being a Latina woman who says she does a lot for the community, specifically the Latino community, but what she really does is she gathers them up so they can vote for whoever will pay her. And that means attacking her own, if that's what she has to do. And that's what I believe Shanae Williams has done here also. But I'm going to read Chris Johnson's response. As a legislator, an educator, a Yonkers resident, and a father, I'm committed to protecting children from the clutches of predators. From the clutches, it's a little blurry, of predators. Like the public, I was appalled to learn that a Westchester County government employee is accused of a heinous crime. Equally disturbing is Councilmember Williams' shameful attempt to exploit this unfortunate situation with blatant false and misleading claims. The staffer in question worked for the central staff of the Board of Legislators, which is the sole responsibility of the chair of the board. And I'll get to that in a second. Neither the majority leader nor any other county other legislator has or had individual direct hire fire authority over central staff committee coordinators. I became aware of these allegations only 30 minutes before the staffer in question was terminated from employment. However, Council Member Williams was silent when a City of Yonkers employee and her friend, appointed by her political patron, Mayor Spano, the same person who appointed her to the council seat she currently occupies, was arrested for drunk driving the wrong way on a major roadway. And that's something that I mentioned. And I broke this story first in regards to the legislative aide. You heard it here first on Basement Politics. And then after that, it just kind of snowballed from there. And everyone started picking up on it, piggybacking. The blatant hypocrisy and mistreatment of facts, in addition to politicizing an internal staffing issue that has already been resolved, is a clear violation of the public trust that demonstrates her unfitness for political office. The last thing the people of Yonkers need is elected officials more concerned about personal this is a little blurry, than the safety and well-being of its residents, particularly our children. Since discovering this incident last Thursday, I have been in discussions with my colleagues about addressing any lapse that may have occurred, including any appropriate measures that need to be taken at the board. Councilmember Williams' actions are right out of the dirty tricks playbooks of her mentor and patrons, former Republicans, Mayor Mike Spano, and Yonkers GOP Chair Zahi Jerris. Wow. Good for you, Chris Johnson. Good for you. Zahi Jerris, the individual that was convicted, I'll talk about that in a second. She and they should be ashamed for spewing dangerous untruths that erode trust in government and make our community and our children less safe. And he's right. That wasn't her own concoction. Shanae Williams was guided to do this with no doubt by Zahi Jerris. Zahi Jerris is the former GOP chair who was arrested and convicted of political corruption, extortion, blackmail. Also, he was convicted of not paying taxes, avoiding taxes, a felon who is still involved and operates within Yonkers politics. He is now in control of much of the Democratic Party. He is the one that is managing Shanae Williams' campaign via his son, Frankie Jerris. The same Frankie Jerris that's managing Tasha Diaz's campaign. Tasha Diaz is a majority leader of the Yonkers City Council. Sandy Anabi was the Democratic majority leader at the time that Zahi Jerris bribed her to change her vote on a real estate deal, the Ridge Hill deal. Tasha Diaz flip-flopped on the affordable housing ordinance. That needs to be investigated because I'm sure they will find the same exact event took place as with Sandy Anabi, as did with Tasha Diaz. Shanae Williams, another fraud who pretends to care about the community, specifically Black people. When it came to the term extension vote, she flip-flopped on that. She went in there ready to vote yes, although she said she was against it. She voted yes, then realized that Mike Breen was not there, and had she voted no, it would have died. She tried to change her vote, but it was last minute. She knew what she was doing. Had she been straight up from jump, she would have been voting no, and it would have worked out just fine. But that's Zahi Jerris, who is behind Shanae Williams. Now, folks, this is very important because electing officials who are handled by, guided by, managed by, funded by an individual like Zahi Jerris creates problems within our democracy, creates problems within our government. We will never have fair elections. Our elected officials will never represent us. They will always represent their interests, the interests of developers. And I'm glad that County Legislator Christopher Johnson, finally someone, an elected official, has mentioned this man's name. I've been speaking about him for how long now here on this podcast? And it seemed like no one wanted to validate what I've been saying. No one that's elected, but now Chris Johnson has. Good for you, Chris Johnson. She went low. She talked about the fact that you worked with children. You worked for the Yonkers Public School District, impacting potentially your livelihood, your reputation. She has no regard for another man's life, his career, his family. Maybe because she doesn't have one. She doesn't understand. When you have to take care of children and put food on the table, impacting their livelihood. I know that all too well, Chris, as you've seen what they've done to me and my business. Currently, the state still owes me over $23,000 because Zahi Jeris is connected to people at the state. He doesn't like what I'm saying. So he has done everything from have Ruros put out a video that was 2 years old, and then they sent CPS to my business. Ruros is also a pedophile. So how dare Shanae Williams speak on Chris Johnson as if it was his fault this guy went out and did this thing on his own? As Chris Johnson says, he is not in charge directly of firing and hiring these individuals. It's not like he's paying them out of his campaign fund like Shanae Williams is. Every time she sits down with Ruros, she is sitting down next to a pedophile, a sexual predator, a man that was arrested for fondling an underage girl at a karate school he had once. He pled guilty to it. After that, he was found with child pornography in his computer. I have talked about it. I have shown the documentation. I have shown the police reports. I've said to Shanae, if you sit down with this man, you are knowingly sitting down next to a child molester, a child sexual predator, a pedophile. Yet and still, she has done so on many, many occasions. And she pays this man. She pays this man during elections for her interviews. So she is funding, supporting a pedophile. Yet she goes out and criticizes Chris Johnson. That was a bad move. Zahi Jeris must have forgot that the man he pays, Ruros, is a pedophile. The other man he pays, Brian Harrod, is also been accused of sexual crimes against minors. In fact, parents have protested in front of his apartment because of this. Yet and still, they are utilized by Zahi Jeris and elected officials like Tasha Diaz, Shanae Williams, John Rubo, Lakeisha Collins Bellamy, to not only promote them, but to attack anyone who speaks out against them. They have sent me a lot of information on Chris Johnson. I know it's coming from them. It's anonymous, but who else would it be? Who else would want me to put out this negative information on Chris Johnson? Information that has nothing to do with politics. So I didn't say it. I didn't mention it. I support Chris Johnson, and I hope that the people in District 16 make the right decision and vote for Chris Johnson and keep him in there, because you are surely to be disappointed if you vote for Shanae. Shanae Williams, also, as Chris Johnson mentioned, she never said anything when Akeem Jamal, which is the person that he's referencing there, drove drunk down the wrong way on Central Avenue, crashing into another vehicle, injuring a resident at 4 a.m. A road that I go down with with my children, my family, all the time. I'm sure many of you drive down Central Avenue all the time. So imagine you're driving down Central Avenue and a man's coming down the wrong way, speeding. He had just left the Yonkers Brewing Company, the bar that's owned by John Rubo, councilman. He was attending an event with the mayor and other prominent members and elected officials here in the city of Yonkers, and was drinking. They were hanging out with another individual who was arrested with 100 grams of cocaine, yet that charge disappeared. Where did that go, Shanae? That man also has thrown fundraisers for the mayor. That man also carried petitions for the mayor. But he was busted with 100 grams of cocaine. Where did the charge go? Where did the cocaine go? So why was that never spoken about, Shanae? Why did you not criticize the mayor for hanging out with these two individuals? One busted with 100 grams of cocaine. The other one driving drunk, hurting an individual. And all that happened to him was he was promoted. He got promoted. He went from making $40,000 a year to $90,000 a year. His father became the deputy commissioner of the IT department. His mom works for the Board of Education and his sister works for the city. Shanae, where's your criticism on that? Where's your criticism on the fact that you and other elected officials support and fund a pedophile yourselves? So anytime you go on the Yonkers Voice from now on, Shanae, you are showing everyone how much of a hypocrite you are. And until you guys stop funding that pedophile, you are all guilty of supporting a pedophile, funding a pedophile. And Shanae, his victims are still here in Yonkers. The family of his victims hate that man. Yet you sit next to him, and every time you do, and you're on his podcast or page or whatever he calls it, and it's being broadcast live, remember the victims that are still here in Yonkers that may see you next to him, and what trauma that does to them. All right, Shanae? I don't see Chris Johnson funding or supporting a pedophile like you. Don't be a hypocrite. And what about the drunk drivers that work for the city? Because Akeem Jamal isn't the only one that's driven drunk and has crashed. Why haven't you said anything about CJ Hackett? His father's Chris Hackett. His mother is Yvonne. Do you know that, Shanae? Their son, 16 years old, was killed by a city employee driving drunk. He was arrested in City Hall almost 43 hours later. Have you reached out to the family? Have you sent your condolences? Did you know that city employees, even after that, were still attending bars in city vehicles, driving home drunk? I can show you if you'd like to see it, Shanae. Yet and still, you say nothing. You attack another black male, attack his livelihood, his credibility, his reputation, all for the sake of someone who's not black. That's a sellout. You are a sellout. You are black. You are Jamaican. Yes, you are American. But don't forget where you come from. Because if you think they look at you as an equal, you are sadly mistaken. You are a tool in their toolbox. You should be focused on all the residents in your district who are having an issue with the developments. All those people that came out to the meeting last night. Why didn't they show that? Why didn't they show the people, folks? Shanae Williams has a lot of residents that have been contacting her in regards to the developments going on over there in her district, specifically on Woodworth, the 32-story or the two 32-story towers that they want to put up there. And she has not done anything about that. Yet and still, she's criticizing another black man. This is chairwoman of the board of legislators. I want to, Catherine Borgia. See what she has to say real quick. I don't know what's going on with this. I have two screens here for whatever reason. On one screen, I can't press play.
I'm Catherine Borgia, Chair of the Westchester County Board of Legislators, and I'm here to address the matter of our terminated employee. As Chair, I am responsible for all staff at the board. When it was brought to my attention that the board received the first email about the employee's actions, I immediately referred it to the Westchester County Department of Public Safety. As a mother of daughters, I took
Can you hear me? I don't know what's going on here with my internet. I don't know, just froze. But anyway, folks, I'm out of here. I'm Freddie Vasquez, Basement Politics. I just want to go on and talk about that real quick. I did want to mention about the meeting last night. There were a lot of people at City Hall protesting all these developments. You're going to hear more about this. People are really fed up with these developments. No one was told about this. Was there ever like a study done, something, what effects these developments will have on the city of Yonkers? And then, had this study, the results, talk to, mention to the people or discuss with the residents to see what the residents would want to do. I mean, I don't know. Who wanted all this? Like, what did, who called for this, right? We were never, involved or, brought into the process. We were never given an opportunity to speak out and give our opinions or concerns on all this development that's coming into the city of Yonkers. It's way too much. They're completely changing the city. There's a lot of people that oppose it. They purposely didn't show the meeting last night. They didn't want everyone seeing just how many people were there. It was packed, I hear. Packed, packed, packed. People were upset, not just about the 32-story development or the two 32-story towers on Woodworth, but of other projects going up. People don't want this. And so we're going to be looking to organize. Hopefully, I'm going to be getting with some people to discuss organizing and, having a rally. We have to speak out. We have to come out. The East Side is going to be next. Don't think for 1 second that you guys on the East Side are going to be safe. You guys are going to start seeing a lot of developments happening that way. Also, they're not going to really announce a lot of that now. They want to get through these elections because they know that people on the East Side will come out and will not vote for Mike Spano if they know all the developments that they're planning to do over there. They know it. So they're keeping that, close to the vest as long as they can. But you should know, folks on the East Side, if you don't vote differently this year, you're going to be in a lot of trouble. And you're going to be fighting an uphill battle on skates. Just ask the people who are now engaging in that battle. I'm Freddie Vasquez, Basement Politics. She should have suspended him immediately while they investigated. Suspended who? Who are you referring to? I'm sorry. I froze. Thank you, Chris. I appreciate it. Chris Hackett, the father of C.J. Hackett, 16-year-old, who was killed by a drunk driver, a city employee. Shanae Williams and every other elected official said nothing, kept quiet, did not express, their anger and outrage that this would happen and that city employees are still going out and driving drunk in city vehicles. She didn't call the family, comfort the family. Nothing. They all kept quiet. Where's the videos, Shanae? Where are the videos? As you say, we must protect our children. What are you doing to protect our children? Are you speaking out against all the employees who drive drunk? No, you say nothing. That was a bad move, Shanae. That was a bad move. Tell Zahi that was a bad move, all right? And say hello to Frankie for me. What was Frankie doing here downtown? What was he doing? Huh? He was coming to see you?
I was raised in housing.
You're watching Basement Politics with my dad, Freddie Vasquez.
Shanae Williams, don't be a hypocrite. Again, if you see Shanae Williams sitting next to the guy from the Yonkers Voice, she's being a hypocrite. Again, I put the paperwork up, the documentation. The man is a sexual predator, child sex predator. They also fund Brian Harrod, another disgusting child sex predator. I mean, families protested, parents protested in front of his apartment. Shanae, you said nothing. You engage with these individuals. You conduct business with these individuals. Focus on your district and all the people that are having issues in your district, okay? And stop telling them that you're not going to be the councilwoman anymore. You're still there until you're not there anymore. So you need to be doing your job because you're still getting paid to do your job, right? They didn't stop paying you to be a councilwoman, right? They're residents. And we're still waiting on that issue over there in Orchard Place. Shanae, what's going on? It's real simple. Call the police. Have those abandoned cars that have been sitting there for over a year now removed. They have expired plates. If they have plates, they have flat tires, and they're blocking an easement. And it's impacting residents there. And it should be cleared. And you were called upon to help. And you have done nothing but make yourself look foolish. And oh, by the way, I forgot to mention, you never reported Brenton Bullock when he destroyed your boyfriend's apartment. Your boyfriend was very upset. He announced it on Facebook. He told everyone that his apartment was destroyed by someone we all know. I find out who it was. It was Brenton Bullock. That's your boyfriend, and you said nothing. That was a crime, and you said nothing. Was it because he's the chief of staff of the majority leader, Tasha Diaz, who's also handled, managed, and funded by Zahi Jeris? Or is it because his godmother is Maria George, Lakeisha Collins Bellamy, the city council president's chief of staff, the one who thought it was a good idea to start spreading the child pornography rumors about me. Meanwhile, you all engage in interviews with a child pedophile, child pornography, guy who had child pornography, who actually had child pornography. I have the police report, Shanae. Ruros actually had child pornography, and he tried to describe it to me. He said it was a toddler with an adult black male. Shanae. I'm Freddie Vasquez, Basement Politics. I'm up out of here. Thank you, brother. I appreciate you, Adrian. Folks, we have to know these people, you know, they're liars, right? They're a bunch of liars, and I'm calling them out. I'm speaking the truth. I'm exposing them. That's what I do here. It's not personal. It impacts us all. When we allow these people to do whatever they want, we get impacted. Us, the people, the residents, the ones that are not connected, the ones that don't have the benefits and the perks. Us, the people that don't get to steal time, don't get a job just because we're connected, we're friends, we're family. That's who I speak for. The residents, the homeowners who are not connected, who don't get their sidewalks fixed by the city and have to do it themselves, or they'll get a violation. The people that have the building department give them a hard time because they're not connected. They get shaken down by the building department because they're not connected. Meanwhile, you see all these other developments and even certain businesses go up in no time at all. How is that possible? Right? So it's not fair. And that's what I speak for. The people of the city of Yonkers who are not treated fairly. And that's the majority of us. That's the majority. How is it that the CS, the Charter School of Excellence, can get $50 million plus an additional $15 million in bonds that were approved by the Yonkers Development Corp or whatever, yet the city of Yonkers is struggling with their public schools, and yet the mayor brags about $21 million in additional funds he got for this coming school year. Charter school gets a lot more, and I'm not hating on the charter school, but what's up with that? I'm just saying, there's programs that are being canceled. The cheerleading squad cannot compete on a state, cannot become like a real cheerleading squad because they don't have the money for mats. So now it's just like it's still going. My wife is keeping it going because she wants to keep these girls involved and active and out of, the streets and doing nothing. But it's just like an intramural thing. It's just like it's not a real, they can't compete against other schools. They really, because they don't have the mats to practice on. And they tell them we don't have the money. The mats are $8,000. They don't have the money. Tasha Diaz, the chair of the education committee, could have bought the mats instead of paying over 10 grand for the award, whatever she did over there at the Castle Royale using taxpayer money. But she didn't. She chose to hand out stupid awards to the same individuals who do nothing. And our kids suffer. And so that's why I speak out. I'm Freddie Vasquez. I'm up out of here. Thank you, folks. Robotics at Yonkers High had to do a fundraiser to go to nationals. Look at that. Look at that. You think that's Scarsdale, Eastchester, Bronxville are having to do that? No, they have everything they need. And it's not like Yonkers residents don't pay, a lot of taxes. Right? And sure, there are a group of people that are renters and they don't pay taxes, right? But now the city and elected officials are bringing in tons more of renters who are not paying taxes. So that's a moot point that you guys try to make. All right? I don't want to hear that. I'm Freddie Vasquez. I'm up out of here. I got to get my kids back to the daycare center. Folks, and by the way, our daycare center is number one. Everybody's talking about it. If you're looking for a place for your kids, we are the place. We are open when schools close. We accommodate parents. We do pickup and drop-offs. Check us out. We the best. We the best.